Here's a question for you. What do you think is the most profitable thing you can spend your time doing? When you look at it from a long-term perspective, what's the most profitable way you can spend your time as a digital marketer? What do you think? Put it in the chat. I'd love to see what your guess is. Let me tell you what mine is. I believe that the single most profitable thing we can do in using our time, no, it's not delegation. No, it's not coming up with another offer. No, it's not perfecting our sales page. It's list building. It's getting more people into a list of yours, an audience, an engaged audience that you can consistently communicate with to be able to put those amazing offers and all that work that you're doing in front of. When you think about it this way, it really makes sense that if you double the size of your list and it's a good group of people you're bringing on there, you're potentially doubling your revenue. And I thought about this a long time before I did this. I was going to show you all the math and show you how it all works and but I decided to just let you trust me on this. When you do the math, it is absolutely clear that this is very clearly the fastest path to growth and profits. This is where you should be spending your time, your energy, and things like advertising dollars. So I invite you for just a moment to think back on your last 7 days of doing business. Or we can take the last month and ask yourself this question. What percentage of your time did you spend on list building? And let's actually step back from this. What percentage of the time spent by anybody working for you in your company was spent on list building? What's that number? Put it in the chat. I'd love to see what that number is for you. Can I tell you what, after having worked with thousands of people, the ones who are most successful do? They spend 20% of the time in their company on list building. And you look at that and you say, wait a minute, I spent a grand total of an hour last week doing this. That may be one reason why you're not succeeding as well as you'd like to. So let's just take this and translate this into hours. So if someone works for your business for 40 hours in a week, 8 of those hours should be spent on list building. Let's just imagine that it's you and you have one full-time assistant somewhere. All right, that's 80 hours. 16 of them should be spent on list building. Why? Because list building is the highest leverage task that you can be doing. And most people ignore it. Most people simply don't do it. So what in the world are you going to do with 8 to 16 hours in those two examples of work? Well, okay, let me show you a few things. The first one is to create new opt-in incentives. A new report, a new video, a new mini course, whatever it is, create something new for people to opt in at. One of the biggest problems that I see companies do all the time is that they think they need an opt-in incentive. They don't. They need 30 of them. You need a lot of them to be able to attract in people onto your list. What else can you do? Well, you can create new landing pages for those new opt-in incentives that you're creating, as well as create a new one for an old offer. My guess is that if you in the past have created more than one opt-in incentive, let's just say you've created 5. My guess is that 4 of them are doing almost nothing for you. All right. How about if you go and create a new landing page for each of those 4, working on improving the offer that is made for that, working on improving the page, working on improving how you go about showing it graphically, all those different elements. Next, very related to that, is to test existing opt-in pages, landing pages, as well as opt-in forms. And so, yes, you may have a landing page, but do you also include it in a widget on the side of your blog? Do you include it in an ad within your blog? All those things are things that should and could be tested to significantly increase your conversion rate from those pages. I see it all the time, where a slight change to one of those boxes can easily double conversion rate. And by the way, a slight change can easily cut it in half too. So you won't guess correctly every single time. That's why we do testing. Next, creating content upgrades. Just a reminder, a content upgrade is, let's say you've got a piece of content, you've got an article, a blog post, whatever. And so then you take and you create something that says, hey, want to know more about this element? Maybe think of it as an advanced tactic, or more complete information, or here's the next step, or here's a PDF version of whatever it is that you just got. All of those can be content upgrades, which you can put on a piece of existing content to get more people to opt in. I strongly suggest you go find the 80-20 rule. What are the 20% of the pages that are bringing in 80% of your traffic? And make sure every one of those has an opt-in incentive on it that's relevant to that page, that makes people go, of course, I'm willing to give you my email address to go to the next stage. Next, how about if you go and create ads that you run on your own site for your opt-in incentives that you put on other pieces of content that are related to that piece of content. So let's say you've got a piece of content, you've got an opt-in incentive that, I don't know, how to hire a blank. So let's say you're in the coaching business, how to hire the best life coach. All right, so then you could take and create 3 different versions of ads for that, just like a banner ad, and then go put that on all your blog posts that talk about life coaching. Build that and start putting it on. So a lot of people put links to their pages, links to from one blog post to a different one. How about if you use that same theory and put an ad for your opt-in incentives on other pages on your site? Finally, how about if you work on your autoresponders so that you retain your current and the new subscribers who come in? Because one of the last things you want to do is build a list and lose them because they never open anything after that. So that first initial autoresponder sequence is key to building and retaining your list into the future. All right. So those are some options. What do you think? 20%? It probably sounds totally unreasonable. I understand that. My invitation to you is to actually spend 20% of your time for the next 2 months. And let's see what happens to your list. Interesting challenge. What do you think of all this? What's working for you? How much time are you spending? Are you interested in spending more? This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.